Something fundamental has shifted along the world's longest undefended border. It isn't a wall or a new security measure, but a quiet, collective decision. Millions of Canadians have stopped making their once routine trips south. No protests, no slogans, just empty parking lots in Buffalo and canceled hotel reservations in Maui. This silent boycott is a grassroots movement, driven by economic pragmatism and wounded national pride. For decades, cross-border shopping was a Canadian ritual, but that tradition is fading fast. Now, staying home is a statement, one that says the relationship with the U.S. has been fractured. Non-commercial vehicle crossings have plummeted, with some border points reporting declines as high as 15%. American border towns, once bustling with Canadian shoppers, now feel like ghost towns. The silence in these retail spaces is a direct result of a national conversation about respect and sovereignty. This is about more than money. It's a profound change in how Canadians view their southern neighbor. Shopping local has become a patriotic act, a way to invest in their own communities and assert national identity. This shift was sparked by a series of political and economic provocations that pushed a friendly partnership to its breaking point. The roots of this boycott trace back to escalating trade disputes and inflammatory rhetoric in early 2025. The second Trump administration imposed a sweeping 25% tariff on all Canadian and Mexican imports, seen as a hostile act by many Canadians. Canada retaliated, removing iconic U.S. products from shelves and matching tariffs. President Trump's dismissive references to Canada as a potential 51st state struck a nerve, turning an economic dispute into a matter of national dignity. The anger fueled a political sea change. Mark Carney's Liberals, campaigning on Canadian sovereignty, overcame a massive deficit to win the federal election. Tensions escalated with a new 35% U.S. tariff, justified by dubious claims, and Canada's independent foreign policy moves at the UN. Public opinion of the U.S. collapsed, approval ratings fell to historic lows. In this climate, the silent boycott was born, not by government order, but as a spontaneous collective response. Ordinary Canadians, feeling their country was under attack, decided to fight back with their wallets. The boycott became a powerful unifying act of defiance. It was a message: respect is not optional. Nowhere is the impact felt more than in American border towns. Cities like Buffalo and Blaine, once thriving on Canadian commerce, now face half-empty parking lots and shuttered storefronts. Retailers have lost over half their Canadian business almost overnight. Sales in border cities have dropped by double digits. Store managers cut hours, jobs vanish, and the ghost mall is now a grim reality. The pain ripples out. Hotels, gas stations, and parcel services that relied on Canadians are in crisis. Local tax bases erode, threatening public services and deepening the economic spiral. The stories are personal. A restaurant owner misses familiar Canadian families. A gas station attendant notes the silence where there was once a steady line. These aren't just statistics, they're communities facing an existential threat. The symbiotic relationship that defined these regions is broken. American business owners, many with Canadian ties, are caught in a conflict they didn't create. They wonder if their best customers will ever return. The economic fallout is real, and the uncertainty is growing. The border, once a bridge, now feels like a barrier. North of the border, a different story is unfolding. Billions once spent in the U.S. now fuel the Canadian economy, powering the Buy Canada movement. Canadian retailers, from big chains to small shops, are thriving as consumers invest in their own communities. The Made in Canada label is now a badge of honor, and hashtags like #SupportLocal and #BuyCanadian trend daily. Influencers and YouTubers champion the cause, framing it as a defense of sovereignty and respect. BMO Capital Markets estimates the movement could inject $10 billion into the economy, boosting GDP and morale. Canadians are discovering the quality and variety of homegrown products, from local produce to tech and fashion. The shift is more than economic, it's a cultural moment, redefining value and patriotism. Canadian businesses have quickly adapted to this new reality. Major chains like Loblaws now highlight Canadian-made goods, while some mark U.S. products with a black T to signal tariffs. Retailers are rethinking supply chains. Summerhill Market dropped Florida oranges for alternatives, and specialty shops have stopped selling American cheeses. Larger corporations pivot marketing to emphasize Canadian roots, tapping into the national mood. Manufacturers source more raw materials domestically, strengthening supply chains. The boycott has sparked innovation and collaboration, as companies work to provide Canadian alternatives. This isn't just marketing, it's a genuine alignment with national sentiment. Businesses know that showing solidarity with customers is crucial. The aisles of Canadian stores have become a quiet battleground, and businesses are proudly choosing a side. The boycott's impact extends beyond retail. U.S. tourism is reeling. Airline bookings from Canada to the U.S. are down over 70%, and road trips have dropped by a third. For 6 months, Canadian travel to the U.S. has seen double-digit declines. The reasons: national pride and a sense of protest, but also concerns about safety and feeling unwelcome. A majority of Canadians are less likely to visit the U.S. Many have cancelled trips, choosing to explore Canada instead. Even Hawaii, once a favorite, has seen Canadian arrivals drop by over 9% this year and 27% since 2019. Restaurants and hotels in U.S. destinations report fewer Canadian patrons and rising cancellations. Some airlines shift capacity to salvage what they can, but the trend is clear. The boycott has redrawn the vacation map for millions of Canadians. American cities and states that once relied on Canadian tourism now face a harsh new reality. The economic consequences are mounting, with no end in sight. The silent boycott is more than an economic reaction, it's a cultural shift. For generations, proximity to the U.S. shaped Canadian identity, with cross-border shopping and travel as ingrained habits. That era is over. Canadians are now defining themselves by their own values, industries, and communities. The Buy Canada movement is part of a larger cultural reawakening. Supporting local isn't just economic, it's a statement of pride and shared purpose. This new patriotism is visible in daily life, art, and media. Consumer habits are changing. Price differences that once justified cross-border trips now seem trivial compared to national sovereignty. Convenience and patriotism drive new behaviors. A habit once considered normal is now actively rejected, replaced by local exploration and spending. The question: is this permanent, or a reaction to current politics? The longer it lasts, the more ingrained these habits become. Rebuilding the old bond will require more than policy. It will take trust and a renewed appreciation for Canada's unique identity. As of September 2025, the future of Canada-US relations hangs in the balance. The silent boycott has shown the power of collective action, inflicting real economic pain and sending a clear message. The U.S. stands to lose billions, with industries warning that lost customers hurt more than tariffs. But economic patriotism carries risks. A prolonged trade war could damage both economies. The deep interdependence between the two nations can't be erased by a boycott. Rebuilding trust will require more than removing tariffs. It demands a shift in tone and genuine respect from Washington. U.S. industry groups are already lobbying for resolution, recognizing Canada's market can't be taken for granted. The path forward is diplomacy, mutual respect, and shared values. Ultimately, the future will be shaped by millions of individual choices, where people shop, travel, and invest their pride. Whether this is a temporary dispute or a permanent realignment depends on whether trust can be rebuilt, one respectful gesture at a time.